Hello, everybody. This is Daniel, also known as DP0427 on Reddit.
This is Brett, also known as Ogre Barbarian on Reddit, and today we have a special guest.
Hi, my name's Charles. I'm also known as French Fries or LJC94512 on Reddit.
All right. Unfortunately, we don't have Doom today. He can't be here due to some other things occupying his time. But hopefully he'll be here for the next one. So we're the Oddsmen, and let's get started today. Before we get started, how are you guys doing? Everything okay?
Doing good. Good. Still too early.
Okay, great. So we got a lot of things to talk about, as we do each time. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing on the docket, let's start with new characters this time. So I think a lot of people are quite excited and or disappointed by certain things going on with the new characters. The first character up to talk about is the Red Hood. Later on, we'll talk about the second character, the Penguin. But first, let's talk about Red Hood. So what is the Red Hood really? I mean, first of all, let's just talk about the problems with Red Hood. It seems like he was bugged at the start and then somewhat fixed later on.
It was a positive bug.
Yeah,
people liked it.
There was good things and sort of bad things.
The problem was it caused a crutch.
Right. So it depends. It also depended on which side of the coin you're on. If you were playing as a Red Hood player or against a Red Hood player. So, but overall, let's talk about Red Hood as a character. His kit is based around heal immunity, buff immunity, awareness removal, purging, bleeds, and he can also steal buffs. So he's pretty much the one-stop shop to kill Deathstroke. Well, that's what he was intended to be. And also,
he's a Swiss Army knife.
Right. He was a Swiss Army knife to take down Deathstroke, Lobo, and pretty much anyone who would sort of follow that type of strategy as sort of splash damage. But let's get into the problems. He, at the beginning, apparently his leadership ability was preventing anyone from reviving, period. He didn't need any other special upgrades. He just needed to have his leadership ability. That's all. He just needed to be there, and people needed to die, and they wouldn't come back. That
sounds like it would be more of the passive.
Right.
Because the passive is what grants the heal immunity.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what it was, but in the latest 1.17 update notes that WB Thompson posted, I think, yesterday, which was quite a while after the update went live, he wrote there that they referred to fixing what was the name of that ability? It's called something about rebels or outlaws. Outlaws never die, right? So
outlaws never die.
Right. So that's his leadership, yeah. Right? Yeah. So they said that they're fixing that. They fixed that to because it was preventing people from reviving. So it just seems like it was just an unintentional bug, but it was a happy bug for people who were using Red Hood. So the other thing, I'm not sure if this was because it wasn't addressed in the notes, but it seemed that Red Hood at the time, he was able to steal bugs with his legendary upgraded leadership ability. So he was able to steal buffs without actually having deaths being triggered. That means like just by damaging a character like Harley Quinn, he was able to steal her evasion or her taunts and pass them to random allies. So that was...
Oh, that's weird.
It seems like that was fixed. But they didn't address it in the notes, so I'm not sure what that was about. The other thing was now, with the current state of it being quote-unquote fixed, his overall bugs or little glitches, there was an issue with certain, I guess, mechanical properties of the heal immunity, I think it's his passive legendary. And it seemed like most of the time the characters that died, it would apply the heal immunity. It would apply the buff immunity. That was the one I was thinking about. That's his leadership actually. The buff immunity would be applied after certain deaths, but it seems that I think it's based on the timing of when Lobo gets his revive or comes back. There's like a window somewhere where Deathstroke can still get buffed. Now other people are saying this is probably just Deathstroke being bugged. So, yeah.
I won't say it's Deathstroke being bugged. I mean, I have a lot of alliance mates saying the enemy Deathstroke keeps getting buffs, and not randomly. I mean, in all the PvP matches. So they were obviously raging in my alliance.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There was one other thing about the heal immunity that I want to talk about before we just look over him as a character again. His heal immunity. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know how this works or not, but the way I read his upgrade on his passive ability, it just says also applies heal immunity. Now, the way I thought of it working was that he deals damage, then he has a percentage chance to apply bleeds, and then it applies heal immunity. So I thought that as long as he does damage to somebody, he applies heal immunity. It seems like it's not the case. It seems like it might be linked to his ability to also apply bleeds and heal immunity at the same time. So
that is exactly, yes. I think the second thing you said is the case because of the word also in the description. So when I first read it, I already assumed to apply the heal immunity means you also have to apply for the bleed first before, instead of just applying the heal immunity. Yeah.
That makes sense. That does make sense. The weird thing is, now, is it tied to the percentage chance of applying bleeds? So, for example, the passive, if you fully upgrade it, it's a 60% chance to apply bleeds. Now, I was doing a video earlier. It's actually up on YouTube right now, and you can see it, where I was using Red Hood. If he damages one person, let's say he does his basic, he does 3 shots, you'll see a certain amount of stacks of bleeds, but then you'll also see a certain amount of stacks of heal immunity. Now, to me, the way the wording is that the amount of bleed stacks and the amount of heal immunity stacks should be the same, but they're not. So that's really weird for me. You know what I mean?
Okay. See, the way that I understand it, the heal immunity is a separate trigger, and it will be applied 100% of the time.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought too. But it doesn't seem
That's
to be
the way I hear it when I hear the word.
I don't think, when I read it, I don't think it will guarantee apply immunity. That will be quite OP, I would think.
Because the reason that I say that is because it would say equal chance to apply heal immunity.
It could be a more clear wording, but
the wording
it could, yeah.
The wording is definitely ambiguous, which is the root of the problem here. But I mean, overall,
well, the problem is the skill doesn't hit 100%.
Yeah, right. Because what I was thinking is, I was
100%, it wouldn't matter.
I was sort of thinking like you, Ogre, in the beginning. So I thought, oh, that'd be awesome. You open up with his AOE, you put heal immunity on everybody, right? And then next person comes in and just kills everybody, or kills a couple of guys at a time, and they all can't revive, right? So that's what I thought it would be. But it wasn't the case. So actually, the way you sort of pick and choose which characters you go after actually matters a lot with Red Hood. Because, like, let's say you have Baby Lobo and Deathstroke on the same team. Do you start taking off the awarenesses off Deathstroke, or do you start by making sure you get heal immunity on Lobo, right? So it matters a lot now.
Well, I think it only matters if you have his leadership legendary upgrade.
Right. No, so the leadership legendary upgrade is the one that steals buffs. The passive upgrade.
Right.
Right.
If you have that, you want him to get those buffs.
Right. No,
But then again,
well, what I'm saying is
you'd have the buff immunity, so.
Right. I'm talking about the heal immunity to stop the reviving. That's my main concern, because you want to, like, the problem with the heal immunity is there's no guarantee, right? And the way it looks like, I'm with you, sort of like it looks like it was something that looks like it was guaranteed, but it seems like it's not. It's not 100% chance. So. Anyways, I don't think it's bad. It's just definitely a little bit worse than I thought it was. So, but I still think it's worth getting if it's one of your first few upgrades for Red Hood. So, anyways, let's stop talking about how bugged he is or he's not. But what do you guys think of him as a character? Ogre, go ahead. What do you think?
I am really looking forward to using him just because he's a bleeder. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of having a passive that'll use any move to apply a bleed. That's really cool. Right. I think. His turn meter down on his leadership, I think, is busted, and it's going to be so fun to play with.
Definitely.
Once he's finally fixed all the way, obviously.
Fries, what do you think?
I honestly just really looking forward to using him.
Cool.
My verdict is pretty much the same. I'm still trying to upgrade my Red Hood, and it's quite weak at the moment. I mean, he serves all the purpose of being a hard counter to Deathstroke. I just hopefully he can be fixed. Like he properly blocks, doesn't block revive. I mean, or with the team leader, and also stopping Deathstroke getting buffs, because that's obviously not what's happening now. But the character is good, and I'm seeing a positive change in the PvP, which is about the meta that we'll probably talk about later.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, well, in my opinion, because I've been using Red Hood for a while, I have him at gear 10 and level 60. So even at that level, he can still compete with, gear 11, level 70 Deathstrokes and the like. So the main thing with with Red Hood, as a user that uses him a lot now, that I would say to most people, don't think that I wouldn't say that he's bugged or he's nerfed or whatever it is. As Ogre, you were saying before that the previous version of the Red Hood, as he was bugged, created a crutch. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Well, people thought that the revive stopping was something that he was supposed to do, and it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not that he's supposed to stop revives with his leadership. The way he is worded, it gives no indication about that. And I know people have been in an uproar on Reddit about it. Some are asking for refunds, and some are just telling him, hey, you misread everything. That's not how it works. And it makes people upset when a bug like that is part of the initial release, because they think it's part of the kit and it turns out not to be, and then they get mad about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that would be a really sad thing to know if people are actually not aware of what Red Hood is supposed to do. I mean, he does have hue immunity, but his biggest purpose is, as a leader, blocking Deathstroke gaining buffs.
Exactly.
That's why he's good.
Exactly. So I'm actually, I agree with both of you. It's a surprise that a lot of people actually believe that the way he came out intentional, as he was in the beginning, was intentional. And I was actually saying this to a lot of my alliance mates, and I was like, I think that this is bugged. I'm pretty sure they're going to fix this. Don't get used to it, right? And I was saying that, but not to be hypocritical, but I was using him and exploiting that bug at the same time. So, but I mean, you know what I mean? Why not until they fix it, right? But like I was saying, like I don't think that the way he is now, he's still perfectly serviceable. He's doing what he was actually advertised to do, if you read what the advertisement said. So let's just keep that in mind. But overall, I think Red Hood's a great character. He does what he's meant to do, and I think Jason Todd as a character for the DC universe is one of the better Robins in my opinion. But he's a
fan
really
favorite, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's
not for me though. I mean, my Robin will be Dick Grayson always.
Dick Grayson.
But he's Nightwing now, isn't he?
I'm kind of the same way.
I like Dick Grayson's Robin.
I want Dick Grayson as my Robin.
I like Dick Grayson's as a person, but I liked him more as Nightwing personally. But my favorite Robin.
See, I didn't really ever get into him as Nightwing.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm probably one of the only people that in my circle of DC of comic book nerds that actually likes Damian Wayne as Robin.
Oh God!
I don't hate Damian Wayne as Robin. I mean, he has his own character development.
Yeah. He's just.
I don't mind him as Robin. It's just his attitude and everything that I don't like.
Well, that's exactly why I like him. He's just a big turd that
He's a little
on
prick.
Bruce Wayne's ass. Yeah. Anyways,
that is the point.
Like the movies and stuff where he shows up at the Teen Titans to train with everybody.
Yeah, he's just
and he's talking shit the whole time.
He's just a big douche.
Yeah, he's just a douchebag. And it's like he gets slapped down finally, and I'm like, you deserve that, you little.
Anyways, yeah, that's another discussion for another time. Let's move on to Penguin.
And as far as in game, Robin sucks.
Well, yeah, that's for now. Let's hope he gets.
He's not totally useless, but
let's hope he's on
beside the point.
Yeah. Okay, so
he just needs minor tweaks. He doesn't need a full rework.
Sure. Okay, so Penguin, his second event is currently ongoing right now. But overall, let's look at Penguin. As a character, he seems quite tanky. He has a very unique set of skills and kit and abilities. Overall, he's based around shielding, critical damage down. He gives awareness. He has a decent, well, I wouldn't say decent, but he has an AoE. And he has a very interesting AoE death trigger. So, yeah. What are your takes on Penguin? I don't really have very...
Go ahead, Starfries.
Yeah, go ahead.
for me, in terms of damage, I mean, Penguin is definitely not for damage. It's all about shielding, like you say. And I also think people could take more advantage of him stealing buffs, because it can get useful in time, especially if you're against Deathstroke. Stealing his buffs could help. So you might want to pair him with assist caller, like Green Lantern Hal Jordan, for example, or Batgirl, for example.
Batgirl only triggers her assist if they have no buffs.
I mean,
Just to deal with.
yes, I know that, but it's not just Deathstroke that you want to steal buff. Like a lot of people, you can do that.
Right, but what I'm saying is she can't help him steal buffs.
She'll hit a character
Because
with buffs.
the enemy has to have no buffs.
She'll hit a character that has no buffs. He comes in and hits the character, but he has nothing to steal.
Yeah, I don't remember if actually in calling assist you can hit another character that is not the main target.
No, it has to be the one you targeted.
Yeah. Anyways, so
I haven't used call assist for a long time.
anyways,
I know, right?
there's a lot of call assisters out there that can do the job, like Hippolyta or
Hippolyta, Nightwing.
Yeah, there's a lot of options out there. So yeah,
there's a good chunk of them.
It'll still have that potential out there. So in terms of a character, I feel that Penguin is kind of like the red Medfield kind of. His kit is a support kit, and he's definitely someone that's there to help you prolong and sustain the battle, and he's not there for DPS, right? So, which is kind of weird with his whole AoE death trigger unique ability. What do you guys make of that? It's the very first time we've seen this type of ability.
It's not entirely unique, I thought. I thought a Joker had something similar, but I guess it was on the enemy team death originally.
Was that with the original Joker too, or with the reworked Joker?
The original Joker toxin, when they died, they would explode.
Oh, when they died or when he died?
Deal damage to the enemies around. Huh?
When they
It's
died?
when the enemy would die.
Okay.
You'd hit them with Joker toxin, and then when you killed them while they had the toxin on them, like for a certain number of rounds, they would
just chain,
explode,
right?
dealing like 10% true damage.
Yeah.
Yes,
and they could
that's
start chaining together.
Right.
the old Joker's AoE legendary ability, which was quite interesting.
The original.
Well, what I'm talking
The very original.
What I'm talking about here, what's unique, is the death trigger being Penguin dying. So Penguin dying.
Right, but now
is a
what I'm
death
saying
trigger.
is they did the rework for Joker as well at the same time, and they gave him the same thing.
Well, yeah. That's
So
that's the next thing I was going to get to. later,
It would
but
be
yeah.
unique, except they released two at the same time.
Sure. So, but this whole concept of
It's
having,
definitely cool because the thing about it is that if you have the legendary upgrade for Henchy attack, it gives minus 20% turn meter.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's huge.
Someone on Reddit brought up the potential
minus
of
20%.
someone else on Reddit said, would this cause a potential draw? Because if you killed what do you call it? If you killed Penguin,
If everybody else is dead, Penguin kills everybody at low health.
would it be a draw?
How does the game end, right?
Right. We don't know.
My point of view is
don't
this is
believe
not going to
so.
happen.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's a draw.
Even if there is a bug that could cause some sort of like panic in the game, I just don't see it happening because that AoE's damage is so low, and you have to kill everyone with that AoE. It's just I don't find it
From
possible.
what I've heard on Reddit, if Penguin's death trigger kills the opponent, Penguin gets the win.
Really?
Yes.
That's weird.
Because he hasn't died yet. He's still in an attack animation.
Oh, really? That's weird.
Yeah. Remember, when he does his death trigger, he'll do the animation, his Mary Poppins impression,
Yeah.
have the Penguin shoot the million rockets. It's funny and hilarious and awesome.
He's still standing there. Everyone else is down.
But he's still standing there.
Yeah.
And then when he comes down from that animation is when he disappears finally.
Okay. So I'll believe it when I see it. Basically, I want to see a video of that happening, and then we'll see. Then
You know how hard that is going to be to pull off?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to do, but yeah, it's on someone's to-do list.
Oh my god, I'm not doing it.
It's got to be someone with a high.
I found another
penguin.
bug. I'm not doing that one.
Anyways, it's got to be someone with a high level penguin. I'm gonna sort of source that one out to hate mail or someone like that. Okay, so
Google contract jalapeno.
right. So Penguin.
He's got his Gear 11 penguin.
Yeah, I was watching some of his videos. It looks good. So Penguin as a character, do you guys think that he's going to be someone that is on the higher end of the must-haves or on the lower end of you like garbage? Just ignore him. What do you guys think?
So here's the problem with Penguin. Well, the problem with a lot of characters, Penguin, Medfill, Jessica Cruz, if you have utility but not damage, people are going to hate you. That's just how it is. People are only looking for glass cannons. They're not going to look for these utility characters a lot of times. So the meta hunters, that's what they're going to look at. They're looking for damage. They like Huntress. Huntress has no synergy with anybody, but she does big damage.
Yep.
So they're not looking for synergy on their teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought on that. So a lot of people are going to say Penguin sucks, even though he has a very, very unique kit and is a lot of fun to play with. It's not going to matter to those people because they're just looking for the meta.
Right.
But to the people that want to have fun, who enjoy the lore and stuff, Penguin is definitely a great character for them.
What's your opinion, Fries?
I mean, basically the same thing. But in meta are looking at damage, so in that regards, I don't think Penguin will do a great job of that. However, I also think the meta are going towards tanks, which is exceptionally important after the HP fix in the previous update. And I mean, I am seeing a lot more tanky teams that I'm having difficulty to play with, and two of the characters that give me the biggest trouble is Cyborg Superman and the new rework Bane.
That new rework to Bane is nuts.
Yeah. Nice segue. Let's move on to the rework characters.
But before we move on, I just wanted to point out, Penguin follows the same gear levels, gear class as Aquaman and Superman. So he ends up getting 47 speed at gear 11.
Oh, really? He gets really fast?
Yeah.
He gets really fast.
In the update notes, that was made to know. So, yeah, he is fast.
Wow. That's something you wouldn't put on someone with Penguin size.
I just wanted to point that out because people were complaining about him at low gear being slow. And it's like, yeah, but...
Get him to gear 11.
Yeah, but...
Start working. Start spending some money.
Yeah. Okay. So segueing into that whole discussion on tanks, Bane, one of the new reworked characters. So overall, Bane has not really changed too much in terms of concept, but they've definitely changed his kit to make him a lot more interesting. So overall, as a character, he's got combo potential based around mending and sort of ramping himself, overhealing, right. And they've fixed his backbreaker to now have a guaranteed stun when it's fully upgraded. What else here?
If he meets the gate.
Right. And he
has to be mending for that one.
So if he's mending and the ability is fully upgraded, he just stuns outright. And I believe it still stuns on miss too, because I've seen videos of people missing on Harley Quinn and still stunning.
I believe the stun is a separate trigger.
Right. So wait, so
it's not connected to the damage like they had Hal Jordan's at one point.
Right, exactly.
His purge was connected to the damage. It's not like that. It's connected separately.
So it's
like bleed.
Yeah, it still applies no matter what. Right.
Well, it's a separate evasion, I think.
Oh, is it? So it could be evaded then.
It can't. I believe it can be evaded, but you have to get like 2 or 3 successful evasions.
I've only fought against Bane maybe twice so far because it's not his Alliance mission week yet. But yeah, I think the couple of times I had played against him with Harley Quinn, he had stunned me both times. So yeah. Yeah. So overall, he did. The thing about his kit that's really interesting that they changed that a lot of people are happy with is the fact that he gets free attacks when he's overhealed. And a lot of people are just quite, I don't know what the best positive word to use here is, but everyone's really
enamored
happy with him. Yeah, they're enamored. So I don't know. I mean, I'm working on gearing Bane to gear 10. He's almost there. But what do you guys think about Bane so far? Start with Fries.
I think he's probably the best bit of December content because the tweak has utility and the damage. It's not a high damage, but the legendary passive makes up for the constant output of the damage. And with all the overhealing because of the passive, makes him really tanky now. And but you really have to work on him to have his skills max and at gear 11 to make him actually formidable. Because I tried a gear 10 Bane and it's just not going to do anything in PvP. Still get wrecked.
Okay.
But gear 11, it makes all the difference. You have to go for gear 11.
Ooh. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. I'm working on him to get a gear 10, so I'll probably use him a little bit in red alerts first to see how it goes. But if it's like as you said, if he's not really doing that much damage, then I'll consider working him to gear 11 too. Then. All right. So Ogre, what do you think about Bane?
He is a lot of fun. I don't know if you got a chance to see the video I posted of going through the Nightwing Hero Challenge with him.
I saw that.
I posted a couple different teams for that. Pairing him up with Flash was absolutely hysterical to watch.
Yeah, because
there was punches flying everywhere.
Yeah, you would think a speedster punching a lot would make sense, but you wouldn't think like a giant monster just flinging himself around would happen.
Well, I don't know. You think of that giant monster when you're actually looking at like in a movie or something.
Yeah.
They're in the thick of it. They're not trying to dance around. So when I see him just randomly punching things like that, it's like, okay, everybody's dogpiling on top of him. He just uppercuts everything. Got it. Okay. And that's what I think of because I'm a big guy, so I think like that. So just everybody dogpile the big guy. Ogre smash! I mean, Bane smash! Like
smash.
This guy who plays
so
with,
much fun.
This is the guy who plays with Grundy, remember? So.
Yeah,
I play with Grundy a lot as well. I mean, all my PvPs now are
awesome.
using Grundy. I always use Grundy and always use Ares with Grundy.
I came up across a team the other day that was one of the hardest teams I had to deal with my typical PvP setups. It was Enchantress, Bane, Grundy, and Doomsday.
Oh dear God!
All gear 11, all of them.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So
kudos to you, sir, for whoever that was that did that.
So it was one of the longest fights that I ever had to do. I lost the first time. I went back in, just went like Siren Cheetah, and let's get this going.
Let's just bleed him out.
So it took a while. It took a long time.
That does happen. All you have to do is take advantage of affinity. That's the most important thing. If you don't have the affinity advantage, it's difficult. I tried to use reds against Cyborg Superman. Yeah. It's not a good idea.
Unless it's Deathstroke with his basic. With his basic up.
It's still not good enough. Cyborg Superman is that good in tanking.
Yeah, it's
one of the best.
It's pretty good. Okay, so
I can't. I can't beat Cyborg Superman without using Grundy.
All right, so in short, Bane.
To Bane.
Yeah, Bane's awesome.
I think one of the things that people are underestimating right now is his legendary basic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Being able to apply 5 strength downs is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And honestly, personally, I think I've altered my personal orders and say that 1 is probably the number one thing for his kit.
I would still go for passive first. The passive is
you'd still go for the passive first?
Yeah, and
you see, here's my argument for that. If you only have an L1 Bane and you're by yourself, you get down to just Bane and just somebody else, they can never kill you if you start stacking strength downs.
Yeah.
But you have to be overhealed for that to happen. Right?
That's true. But what I'm saying is they'll never do enough damage to take you out of your overheal because your passive is still going to trigger when they hit you.
Right.
I would still go for the passive because as you go more tanky, Bane can stack up those mends, and it does do a little bit of heal as well, so it does help.
I think
I get that.
I think both of them, both of the approaches are good if you're a level 1 Bane.
Like, ideally, you want him L4 anyway, so...
Yeah, exactly. But the way I was thinking about it is Fry's approach and Ogre's approach are two different approaches to how to use Bane. It's basically it's a composition type of thing, right? So it's more of like, are you exploiting his passive more, or are you exploiting his basic more, based on how do you expect the matchup to go, right? So if you expect to get a couple of overheals off on him quick so that he can actually get his effect on his basic. If you're
going to run him with Enchantress,
right,
go with his basic.
Because you start off overhealed, and in that case, what you get, you start chaining this sort of like medfill effect, so everybody's can't do any damage to you, and then he just continues to just like whittle everyone down, even though it's not doing much damage because he's not getting a lot of buffs. But at the same time, it's still like happening a lot, and they can't really hurt him because he keeps mending, and they can't actually damage him. On the other hand, what Fries is saying, and this is sort of like my sort of traditionalist approach, is if you get the passive buff effect, he just ramps up really fast. That's just basically
he does.
Yeah. So the idea there is just like getting more buffs on him will gain more mends in the long run overall. So it's sort of like it's sort of like the timing where you're expecting the fight to go. But overall, you guys are right.
To be fair, regardless of how you do it, you're probably taking both of these upgrades in your first 3, regardless.
Definitely.
Of what build path.
Well, actually,
of what build path you're trying to do. You're probably taking them in the first 3.
I personally started... I have an L3 Bane at the moment. I have the shards for L4, which I'll probably get used at some point. But I went with his second twice, and his fourth. So his second is the one that will give him, if you double upgrade it, it gives him his strength ups. Every time he gets that. So every time you proc
2 strength ups on his second upgrade.
So every time you proc his passive, you'll be able to get the strength up, and he just becomes like a wrecking ball. Right? So that was my logic.
Yeah, I have that right now too, just because that's what I took. Like out of the gate initially, I'm like, oh, strength up, ding ding ding.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about his basic, but looking at it again, I was like, that's really handy.
Definitely. Yeah. So
and I can't wait to get him to L4. So
okay. Any last words on Bane before we move on to Joker?
Not really.
Okay. All right. So
I'm just glad he doesn't have a British accent in the game.
you mean the which movie was that? That was the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight Bane.
Yeah, Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, good lord! Oh my god, that Bane. Anyways,
you underestimate me, Batman.
You think darkness is your ally?
So good.
I was molded by it.
Anyways.
Oh, jeez.
Bad accents aside.
Moving on.
Joker, Clown Prince of Crime. So overall, the new Joker after his rework is based around Enrage now, rather than Bleeds. He gets overhealed.
He was never entirely around Bleeds.
That's true, right? He had sort of like a weird kit before, but
he was a very weird kit.
Right. His current kit now, he gets overheals whenever enemies die, which actually was bugged before, and now it's fixed, it seems. Whenever someone would die, it would actually trigger his AoE bleed ability, and he actually has a little bit of counterattacking in his kit now. Did he have that before, or is that new?
He had a counterattack before, I think, but it wasn't really a counterattack. Yeah. It was like, if X condition is met, use Biff on random enemy.
If an enemy dies.
Yeah, there we go. It was what the killing joke was.
Oh, I see.
Was he would kill somebody? You would kill somebody, and then he would use Biff on somebody.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So now it gives the overheal instead of.
Oh, okay. So things kind of were like that. Like things didn't really shift too well. Things didn't really change that much, but they shifted around a bit, it seems. But overall,
well,
yeah. Go ahead.
They've redesigned certain concepts.
Yeah.
So
the way people are reacting towards this Joker, it feels like a bit like the way they were reacting to Dr. Fate when he was reworked. Do you guys sort of get the same thing, like the same impression?
Yeah, because Dr. a lot of teams that were using him don't want him anymore.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Fate has a very specific use, and the reason why people don't like him in the past. I mean, it got better, the reception for Dr. Fate, because you actually have more characters that can synergize with him. Red Hood being a great example, goes well with Dr. Fate. But in the past, there wasn't. And some of his pretty interesting skill from Dr. Fate was removed, like when he was debuffed and he has a crazy AoE damage that can wipe out the whole enemy team, which was fun for some people. Same for Joker now. When some of the good abilities, we are not seeing that anymore. Mostly the passive, the using the basic on an enemy when someone dies. That legendary ability is now gone in the new Joker.
Oh, I see. Like my main stance on like the reworks of this Joker, the reason why I kind of brought up the whole Dr. Fate thing is me personally, and a lot of players probably in the same position as me, didn't have a chance to play with this character before he was reworked. The same with Dr. Fate. So I only knew the new versions of them, mainly also because their shards became much more available with their hero challenges at the same time. In Joker's case, he didn't have a hero challenge, he had a PvP cycle, but his shards became more available, of course. The idea now is there a place for Joker on a PvP team or on for a different mode of the game? What do you guys think of Joker in the game right now?
If you're a fan of him, use him. Like, he's not terrible. He just doesn't fit the same teams he used to. And that's the problem, is that people were using him in one way and now they have to use him in a completely different way. And that's why it feels like the same as Fate, because people lost his passive when Fate changed and they got mad about it because they liked the passive. Now they actually have to use him slightly differently. He's still really good.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Joker. He's still completely serviceable, usable character. He synergizes more with some of the other characters now, and it hasn't changed. His best teammate is still Harley Quinn, Mad Jester. She sets him up perfectly,
which makes complete sense.
Well, no, that's the thing. I thought it's always been really cool that Harley and Joker have interacted the way they do.
Yeah,
their kits have always been completely synergistic.
Is that also true?
She enrages. She puts intelligence down. He does special damage. He cares if they're enraged. Like,
is that also true for the Suicide Squad versions?
Nope.
Not at all.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. Well,
I take that back. I believe they both kind of rely on crit to an extent, but not in the same.
They both have this sort of
not in the same level.
They both sort of have this sort of roulette ability, but it seems like Harley Quinn's way better than Damaged Goods Joker.
Yeah. I still want to use Damaged Goods Joker at some point, and I want to use his legendary basic to apply some bleeds.
Let's just hope he gets reworked at some point. Maybe it'll.
Just don't change that one. That's all I care.
Okay, so Fries, what do you think about Joker as a character in the game?
I actually think it's a big disappointment. I'm seeing a lot of the kid. I just don't think any of them are any good. Like, Enrage is not an exceptionally good like debuff on enemy or buff on enemy. Only Grundy as an exception. You could try Joker with Grundy and Ares, making Ares really tanky, but that's about it. I just don't see the new Joker being able to do anything, and the damage output is really bad as well.
Joker enables Sinestro a lot.
Yeah, but does Sinestro really do anything?
Well, when he's got a 200 speed because of it, then he might be.
Yeah, he does get that speed up. Yeah. I mean...
I've seen many Sinestro that has, because of the Enrage, just having all those mens and speed ups, but no, still get killed as long as you have a Grundy.
Now here's the thing. On the topic of Sinestro, I feel like Sinestro is probably one of those characters on the rework list.
He's probably on the docket, yeah.
Right. So
yes, he absolutely needs to be reworked.
The one thing that I never really understood about Sinestro and characters that are based around Enrage, and in particular Sinestro, Yellow Lantern Sinestro, is that he's a character that's based around fear. Now, I know Enrage is probably as close as we're going to get to fear, but it doesn't really feel the same.
No, I disagree. I think Scarecrow actually revealed where they're going.
So it's sort of like...
it's going to be hit chance down.
Oh, I see. So you think that Sinestro is going to be sort of like the anti-evasion?
I hope so.
Yeah.
We have plenty of anti-evasion already, being Terra and Steppenwolf.
No. Like a reverse. It's you can't hit me instead of I'm going to evade.
Right.
Like Scarecrow.
It's more like everybody's missing.
Well, hit chance down. Well, if that's the case, then Scarecrow can do that. Right?
It's anti-evasion.
Right, I'm just saying
it's like reverse evasion. Yeah.
Reverse.
It's like evasion is where we're putting evasion on ourselves to miss so that they miss attacks on us, but it's reverse evasion.
Yeah.
The idea of them not actually hitting their attacks.
Well, that's hit chance down, which is what Scarecrow does.
It's accuracy versus evasion.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right.
It's always in every game that you play. It's you have accuracy, you have evasion. Which one matters?
Like a dexterity property or something like that, right?
Right.
Like that.
I mean, this has been around in every RPG ever that I can think of.
Yeah.
You know, so
that would be.
But it's one of those things that
that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool if they did something with, like, if fear became that.
At least that's in my mind. That's where I would go with it.
Okay.
So
anyways, we're getting a bit off topic with
make his leadership apply.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, we are, but
it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so in terms of the rework characters and the new characters for this month, do you guys have any final thoughts? What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Fries.
Bane, he's farmable. Just work on him. It will pay off very well. Joker, he's not farmable. He had only one PvP cycle, and that's it. I just say forget about him.
Okay. What about the new characters?
Penguin and Red Hood.
Red Hood, again, work hard on him because we know he's going to have another PvP next month. And because the Deathstroke meta is still sort of here, you will find him quite useful. And you can also look at Dr. Fate synergizing with Red Hood as well. But also, Red Hood doesn't do a lot of damage, and he's not very tanky, so he needs protection. And from what I've seen, using Harley Quinn Majesta is the best way to protect Red Hood, because you're forcing people to either use Terra or Steppenwolf to counter her.
Yep. All right, Ogre, what do you think?
Overall, I'd give the a month a good solid, A minus.
A minus, okay.
The minus specifically for Joker, but more because it's more because of his availability. If he was available and people could get him to a decent legendary level and could use him, I'm sure that there's somebody out there that would break the crap out of him.
Definitely.
But nobody has the character. Nobody has his shards to take him to a good usable point to try him out. So
Joker.
Yeah, I'm talking about Joker.
Yeah, I have him at L5, so
oh well. Yeah. Well, in that case, everybody just be like Fries and spend your life savings.
be like me, have 67 L5 characters.
Oh my god!
Oh, Jesus!
I just got my 4th L4.
Yeah. So let's talk about. So let's move on to the meta game of PvP, because most of these characters, as we were talking about them, we were talking about them. We basically referring to PvP for the most part. So the meta game in terms of changes since the last time we had the podcast. The main noticeable changes has been that Red Hood has definitely made his presence known. You could see a lot of Red Hood leaders in the leaderboards here and there, and that's definitely just because they're slowly what's the word here, taking apart. They're not Deathstroke is still there. He's not going to go anywhere for a long time, I feel, but he's definitely losing speed. He's losing. He
doesn't have to go away, though. That's the thing.
Right. Exactly. And
why does he need to go away? He's a good leader.
That's exactly it. And that's my point. That's my thoughts exactly. I feel like Deathstroke and Red Hood will live side by side. It's just going to be one thing to counter the other. And then on that note,
right. And that's
right. And on that note,
that's what it should be.
Right, and on that note, I've also seen a lot of green and blue teams popping up more to deal with Red Hood. As Fries was saying, teams with Terra, Steppenwolf, just overall some more AoE teams to get around Harley Quinn, to get to kill Red Hood before he's doing.
I've been seeing the arrows out and about lately
I've seen them too.
A couple of teams here and there.
Yeah, in the video I just made, I saw the old Supergirl League teams. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and I'm assuming that was to counter the arrows.
Right. So as
they're out there, teams are starting to change.
So where we're currently at versus where we were at, I feel like we're in a sort of healthier place. It's not completely as healthy as we'd like it to be, mainly because of the bugs and things that are being patched here and there. But I feel that we're slowly taking.
Well, there's also the availability.
Right, that too, because Red Hood just.
We haven't had the cheap sale of Red Hood yet.
That's true,
and we haven't had a second PvP reward.
That's right.
So once those two things pass, then it'll be more saturated enough to where people will actually be able to use their Red Hood.
Right. So I really hope that's the case by January, like mid-January. We'll probably have a nice shift towards a balanced sort of rock paper scissors format, and that's exactly what a balanced metagame should be. I feel so.
Right, and I'm pretty sure that's what the designers have always wanted.
Right. That's what everyone wants. So, what are your thoughts, Fry?
Well, that's not what everybody wants. Everybody wants to win, according to the top whatever, but...
Yeah, that's true. Fries, what do you feel? How do you feel PvP is going? Like, where do you feel it's going in the next short while?
I think with Red Hood, like you say, the most important thing is in a turn-based games like these, you are able to see a variety of teams in the PvP arena, and with Red Hood, that's definitely happening. I mean, it's kind of like Affinity, the triangle, right? There are no absolute perfect team that dominates everything, and that shouldn't happen. And with the introduction of Red Hood, it's kind of back to the circle, because I'm seeing Double Arrow or Supergirl or Aquaman to deal with Red Hood. Tanking is another example, and I think the introduction of Red Hood really had a positive impact on the state of the meta.
Yep.
And as long as he got fixed as soon as possible, he gets fixed.
He needs to be fixed before Christmas.
Right. And I think Deathstroke needs to be fixed in terms of that bug that's kind of plaguing a couple of videos that we've been seeing. And Ogre had one on.
You mean the Dr. Poison bug?
Right. Well, I mean,
or it's not even Dr. Poison. It's true damage. Right. Is the bug.
Okay. Cool.
And specifically true damage tied to the base skill, not legendary upgrades and stuff like that. So you're only looking at Dr. Poison, Superman, and Hired Gun Deadshot.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
in general, I mean, yeah, that just needs to be fixed, period, because it doesn't seem like it should be something that is happening. But so let's hope that gets fixed, and then more steps towards a healthier format. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of where we're currently at in this stage of the PvP, like as we said, we're getting towards a healthier format, but we're not really there yet. So, advices or answers or ways to combat the current meta. Personally, like what I've noted down here is it's good to have a varied and balanced roster if possible, to swap in and out of depending on what the matchups are. As the format's getting a little bit healthier, you'll have more of a diversified team compositions, so you'll need more options and can't just stick to one. Also, I feel that given the current state of what characters are popular, I think purgers and debuffers are still very important, and it seems that with Red Hood, in order to combat Red Hood teams, another way is to obviously not go with Deathstroke, but you might have more AoE teams come up, because especially with Red Hood, because that way you're not too worried about killing Baby Lobos if you can stop buff him, if you can stop buffs on Deathstroke. So ideas of using more AoE or countering AoE, for example, with counterattacks. These are things to keep in mind, and it's why I said before it's important to have a balanced roster. So what do you guys think in terms of ways to combat the meta? Let's go with Ogre.
Um, like if you're trying to combat against Deathstroke, if you're trying to combat against Red Hood, you you really are going to play a little differently here and there, and definitely having a deep roster is going to be a boon. It still comes down to having a balanced idea of what you want to do with your team. If you're following the meta, then you're going to have an issue because you've been using Deathstroke Baby Lobo forever, and you're not going to have a clue what to do. If you think outside the box a little bit, hopefully you have your own team together, and maybe you built a stun comp, maybe you built something else, and hopefully you're at least in a good position where now that there is no meta, you're able to move up a little bit.
Right. What do you think, Fries?
It's mainly to do with Deathstroke, I would say. Deathstroke, since the rework in September, has been very polarizing to some people, and I think the answers to combat the meta is still a lot about handling Deathstroke and Baby Lobo. So you definitely need the heal immunity, purge, like a consistent purger as well. So I always think someone like Green Arrow Castaway is a good option. But with that said, you really need to make sure their weaknesses are covered. For Green Arrow Castaway, his main weakness is him not being very tanky, and he can get killed easily by a green, like reverse flash.
Right.
So I just think Harley Quinn Magister is a great character to counter. I mean, even when I have to use Terra or Steppenwolf to counter those teams, that's already one slot occupied, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So purging is very important, and heal immunity, I would say.
Yeah, definitely heal immunity has definitely made it a very big impact on the current metagame, which is part of why it's in Red Hood's kit. Okay. Now, moving on in terms of PvP, the next thing on the horizon is what they've announced in, what's in the current patch and what is probably going to start taking place from the next the next reset on Tuesday or Monday, depending on where you are. But they've announced 3-star PvP. So 3-star PvP, if for those of you who don't know, it's following the system of the PvE content of the game, where if a character dies, you'll have two stars, and if more than one character dies, you'll have 1 star. I don't think you can have less than 1 star, right? As long as you finish it, you'll have.
You can't. As long as you finish it, you get 1 star.
Right. So if your whole team's intact, it's 3 stars, and for each star that you gain, you'll gain increasing amount of points. So from the screenshot that we saw that WB Thompson posted earlier on last week, or this week actually, it shows a +6, a +3, and a +1. So I'm not sure what to make of it, but I feel like it's maybe like in total you gain 9 points, or is it you get the upper end of 6 points? What do you guys think?
I am not sure really.
I have yet to see what's the actual trophies you get in the
Neutron Star is saying 6 to 9 points.
Okay.
In the chat. He's saying 6 to 9 was the. So what what somebody was trying to convince me of previously on Reddit, I believe it was one of the alliance mates. Because I thought it was different, but he said that you're going to have the base amount, and then you get bonus trophies.
Oh, I see.
For each star above 1.
And some say that's not the case.
I thought I saw 1263. That's what I thought I saw. But that's been however long ago now, and I didn't really look that hard at it. But when I saw it, I thought 3 stars was you get full points, 2 stars you get half points, 1 star you get quarter points.
I mean, let's just put arbitrary numbers out there in terms of points. So let's say 1, 2, 3 to make it easy. So let's say there's 3 stars, and the way it's aligned from left to right on the screenshot, it shows the bigger points being on the left side and the lower points being on the right side. So let's say it's 3, 2, 1. Now, the way I remember, every time you have a victory, it shows the stars showing up. It goes from left to right. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, now my inkling is that, let's say, everybody on your team but one person dies, you'll have 1 star. So you get the one on the very left, right? And if you have all members intact, you get up to the one on the very right. So that means you add all of them together, right? So if that's the case, then I guess what Neutron Star is trying to say is correct. You get the base of, let's say, 3. If we're going 3, 2, 1, you get 3. If one person dies, you get 5, and if everybody's alive, you get 6. 6. In that case, right? So, but we're not sure. We'll see on Tuesday. But what do you guys think of this system?
It's only a few days away.
That's true. But what do you guys think of this system and its impact on PvP?
I personally think it's another way of deterring from Baby Lobo, because it specifically says revivers don't count, and that it does matter a lot in
well, it's the exact same as PvE.
In the game.
Right. Yeah, it is the same as PvE.
Yeah.
If they die, they come back. They count as having died.
Yep.
It counts how many times they died, not how many.
Right.
If they're still alive, rather.
Yeah, and having a significantly lower point, but not too low, that will deter people from using Baby Lobo. I think that's the point of this 3-star PvP, because it will induce people to try more teams that can actually have everyone survive the match, stay alive. Yeah.
Right.
And
are we going to hit the survival meta?
Right. So that's
I'm calling it now. Enchantress and Zatanna, get your gear.
The taunt meta.
Yeah.
the taunt survival meta. I mean, to
Enchantress, Green Lantern,
the tank meta. So
there was people saying Enchantress, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan can really have a shine in the new PvP. I mean, I'm still seeing Green Lantern, Hal Jordan lead, and they still give me problems.
Green Lantern's never gone away.
Yes. Yeah.
He's always just kind of been there. He's never been the meta, but he's always just kind of been there. He's like, hey guys.
Some people just like him.
He feels like the Lego movie Green Lantern. Oh no, guys, I'm here. Oh no, I'm stuck too.
I think Doom is trying to say hi.
He is.
Hello. Is that Doom?
Yeah, Doom was able to connect apparently. So yeah. Say hi, Doom.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone. I'm in a parking lot. Shh. But anyways, that's beyond the point. I just really wanted to chime in, so I'm just jumping in here for this part. The survival meta, like, it's something that I personally rock, because I'm rocking that Doomsday, that Chemo, those 2 taunters, Wonder Woman DOJ, and the Harley Quinn. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm totally stoked for these changes, because I know, as you said, it defeats the purpose of reviving characters. I would agree to some point, but honestly, if you're relying on revival characters in order to get through your thing, then, like, But I personally like the fact that it adds an indirect way to deter teams from just using Baby Lobo and Deathstroke, because for the most part, for most people, since the AI is kind of bunk, it doesn't really affect them beyond that initial point. So a lot of people are still going to be rocking those 3-star scores, those 2-star scores. It just adds a deterrent without affecting the rest of the meta. I mean, it'll affect it in some way, because it will definitely give preference to teams that can sustain, but otherwise, it doesn't really change all that much.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, the one of the interesting things that I thought about in terms of this sort of elegant fix to deter people to stop using revive characters, and then thus relying more on a survival or more a sustain type strategy, is you then create a new sort of rock, paper, scissors format based around what the main thing is at that time. So if this affects the metagame more than the character changes, so let's say, characters like Doomsday, Chemo, Grundy, etc. become more popular, Cyborg, Superman, etc. Bleed characters then become a lot more popular too, as a way to counter those guys, right? So then you sort of shift everything again towards a whole other element, and then that creates an even more interesting dynamic, because now it's not just three things where it's just rock paper scissors. Now you're introducing, I don't know what the next two other elements would be, like what, dynamite.
It goes rock paper scissors lizard
Spock.
Lizard Spock. Yeah. Okay.
Lizard Spock.
Okay, so we're introducing Lizard and Spock at that point. So, okay.
I mean, I for one welcome our new chemo overlords.
Let's bring about the camo meta. Let's do it.
I mean, I'm ready.
It's not gonna happen.
Hey. When they give him a rework and he has death immunity, or not death immunity. Yeah,
Maybe,
death
yeah.
immunity. He doesn't die.
Maybe when he's properly reworked, then yeah. Well, right now, no.
Yeah, chemo with death.
As of right now, I get it. No, not really.
That would be weird. It'd be really good.
Give him death immunity. Give him heal immunity. Give him all their stupid abilities. Make him apply 100 bleeds.
All right.
Then we'll talk.
So I think PvP is not exactly in the best of places yet, but it's sort of in the right. It's on the right path. So hopefully we'll get there soon. Okay, so now let's talk about the actual state of the game in terms of the whole game, not just PvP. So overall, the changes as of the recent patch 1.17. So it seems that at one point, the lingering life problem when characters like Robo or someone would die, that was fixed, but then it came back. Did you guys notice that it's sort of back
happened
with, I believe...
I haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it feels like, what's the word here? I feel like it's only happening with revive characters. Like I've only seen it with and with what's his name, Swamp Thing, so far. So basically, what happens is that the character would die, and then I think it's based on heal immunity, so they won't revive, and you'll see the immunity flash, and then you'll see the life bar stay there. And then it's weird because you won't see anything there for a while until you take another action, and then you'll see a corpse appear. Like, sort of, when your characters die on your side, you'll see their body on the ground, right? But when the Wraith dies, it should disappear. So it's like you're seeing the Wraith's body on the ground, which is weird. So, yeah. That's something that seems like they fixed it and they brought it back with the new patch. So I don't know what that was about. They've also fixed Lobo's taunt animation and his AoE animation that we were kind of complaining about. It wasn't really a big thing, but it was just more of a cosmetic thing. Flash, his buffs have been fixed to give the correct amount of speed ups. That was huge. That was a big deal for a lot of Flash users. Because I can't tell you how many times I've had him do his buff and only get one speed up, and it's really, really annoying.
See, I've had my Flash Max forever, so...
Yeah. Apparently there was a bug with Steppenwolf's axe going missing after a certain animation. I actually didn't use Steppenwolf that much. Fries, have you seen this?
Was Steppenwolf, the axe missing?
Yeah, apparently...
When I
He
used
would do like his basic attack and the axe would disappear.
Really?
I actually never seen that before. I'm quite surprised that it was actually a bug. I mean, it might... For some people, that it's a bug, but not for me, actually.
Well, it's a moot point because it's been fixed. But yeah, I didn't even hear about that. I never even thought that actually was a thing until they brought it up that it was fixed. But well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think it was for everybody. That's for sure.
Yeah. In terms of other big changes that kind of slipped under the radar with the update notes that WB Thompson released yesterday, they changed targeting in combat to bring about new and interesting things with invisible characters and random attacks. So specifically, if you guys haven't seen the notes, random attacks such as, for example, Castaway Green Arrows, passive abilities, and other abilities that will proc on other people's turns, like Flash, for example, or Bane. They cannot hit invisible characters. And if there's a taunter, they must hit the taunter first. Invisible characters can also not be counterattacked. So that's quite an interesting change. It actually brings a lot to the table.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, for invisible. It makes sense if you think about it thematically. So
Especially with the Nightwing challenge just recently, that's huge.
Right, because Nightwing is one of the invisible characters, right? So if you think about it, it didn't really make sense, for example, if an invisible Batman went and hit Arcus, and Arcus just smashes him to bits after, right? It didn't make sense. You shouldn't be able to see Batman.
Well, no, I mean, it makes sense to me, but,
Okay. But the whole thing about random attacks, it's sort of, I wish that they made this type of fix when Castaway Green Arrow was the biggest thing, and now it no longer matters, right? But it's still quite an important change, especially now that, Bane is running around smashing everybody. How do you counter Bane? Go invisible. Everybody but one person go invisible. Oh, actually, that's an interesting. If everybody's invisible, although regular characters can attack him, random attack characters can't hit them? Is that how it works? So it just shuts off Bane.
That's what I would read it as.
Yes.
So if you have, for example, Robin lead, which no one will ever use, and somehow you get your whole team invisible, Bane stops proccing.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
I actually found a team for Robin that I think would actually be good for him as a leader.
Okay. What's the team?
Basically, you use Robin with Nightwing or Mirror Master, and then you use Deathstroke.
Oh.
But you have Deathstroke in the team,
right?
And you just have the other three go invisible and use the awareness as your tank.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Since you have the death immunity and the mends on him anyway, he's just going to tank everything.
That makes sense. All right, cool.
I was actually, I was thinking of a similar one, but instead of having Deathstroke be the tank, I was going to have Bane be the tank, because he gets so much benefit now from getting punched in the face.
Yep. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's variety that you can do with it. I think Robin actually has starting to come into his own.
Maybe we don't need a Robin rework. Maybe we do.
I still need some tweaks.
Yeah. Okay,
Robin needs a higher damage output for his sword, mainly.
Well, honestly, the only thing that needs to happen is his bleeds need to not be gated behind the invisibility.
Yeah, absolutely. That is very true.
If that was the only change, I would be fine with it.
Yeah. Or if
the gating is
or they could leave the gating and give him a way to start off with invisibility, for example,
yeah, that too.
Because it makes sense, because he's
how Deadshot starts out.
He's trained by the League of Assassins, right? So it makes more sense for him to start off invisible. So more so than Batman, at least.
I also wish his basic applied some bleeds, but that's beside the point. I mean, those knuckles are.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me that Scarecrow gets to start out invisible, but Robin somehow doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a bit off topic here, but let's get back to the state of the game. Other things that have been changed in terms of the UI. Apparently, there's now changes that show legendary upgrades a lot more clearer. So you'll see sort of like a yellow outline around them, right? A gold outline, and it'll show the number, how many points are in the upgrade, and if there's a second one available, it'll show that next to the
there's grayed out stars now,
right? It'll show upgrade 1 or upgrade 2. So if it's max upgraded at 1, then the button will go away. But if there's a second upgrade, the button will still be there and it'll show upgrade 2. Right? So it's a lot more intuitive, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have to hunt for which upgrade has the second upgrade.
Right.
And it's a lot easier to tell what's upgraded.
And also on the ability text now, the upgrade ability is highlighted in yellow. So that's a lot more user. It's
a lot clearer.
Yeah. And in terms of the UI, they also apparently have made changes to show rewards in terms of variable rewards clearer. Okay. So whatever you're doing, for example, PvE heroic nodes, it'll show shards from 0 to 1. So it'll, and for example,
Speed Force 0 to 3.
Right. If you're showing, if you're doing repeat runs on, for example, the Nightwing challenge that just passed and the TDK one that's upcoming, it'll show the same thing from 0 to some number of shards based on that each node of that event, for example. So that's good to know. So people will sort of not be confused. People were complaining a couple of months back how it showed a certain amount of shards, but it never rewarded that because it wasn't clear at that time. So now it's really clear.
Yeah.
In terms of stability,
well, I mean, some of us understood it, some of us didn't. So
right. So in terms of stability, what I was complaining about last month, there was a bug with I think a memory leak or something like that that was related to
the red
alerts. It seems that that's been fixed. I actually tried this today. I played, I think, from threat 2 or 3 all the way through threat 12 without having to reset my app. So it seems like it's been fixed. It's nice and stable now. It kind of was back to what it was before I was complaining last month. So it looks like they were listening to us. So overall, that's the changes for this month's patch or the most recent patch. What do you guys think of the changes to the game so far?
I think they're steps in the right directions.
Fries, what do you think?
Now, if we can just get some communication.
Pretty much the same thing. I mean, fixing bugs is very important, but please don't introduce new bugs like Red Hood.
Yeah, definitely. Doomed, what do you think?
Could be worse. They're listening to things that are clear issues. They're moving to fix them. If, as Ogre said, we had a bit more communication, it would be better. But as it stands, I agree. It steps in the right direction.
Yeah. Now, I was listening to Hate Mail and Slow Beats, the We Are Legends podcast, and I think it was Hate Mail that was hinting about a little bird telling him some news about PvE content coming in very soon. And by very soon, probably in the new year. That's what I think it was Hate Mail's words. So it's maybe something to look forward to. I'm not sure where the news is coming from, what the sources are. According to Hate Mail, it was reliable. So
I was actually hoping that was our December gift.
Yeah, I thought so, but
for the last day of the sales.
It could be a Christmas.
Hey, by the way, here's chapter 9.
It could be a Christmas gift. You never know, because we're not on the 25th yet.
That's what I'm saying. We still have a week away. I would love that.
We're still a week away. Right?
I would love that to be our free gift this year.
Could be.
Hey guys, chapter 9.
Merry Christmas.
Yay!
Yeah, there you go. Could be. We never know. We might be speaking too soon. Okay. Then moving on, in terms of holiday talk, let's talk about PAX and events. So before we get to PAX, let's start with the events. It seems that in terms of the hero challenges, there's had been no change to the system. So I feel that the formula is pretty much set in stone as of right now. But hey, they could just pull another.
We thought that before,
right? Exactly. So they could pull another Ivy on us or another whatever on us, and then just shift the pattern all over.
Captain Cold.
Right. That's what it was. Right. It was Captain Cold.
It was Ivy and Captain Cold. It was those 2 months. They both shifted.
Right. So
Ivy went down in difficulty. Captain Cold went way up.
Right. So the one thing to note about event challenges for this month is that at the end of this month, we actually have because Penguin's event is his second event is currently ongoing right now. It'll overlap with a TDK's event, and we'll finish off the month with Cyborg Superman's event. That means that we'll have 2 non-main event heroic events back to back, meaning that we'll start off January with a 10-day heroic challenge as well. So that's at least what I think. So it's just about spacing, because some months have more weeks than like one extra week than in other months. So I'm sure it's just about.
It's just the way they land on the calendar, yeah.
Exactly. So nothing to really read into there. In terms of the character packs now, the formula that I was looking at previously in the last podcast, maybe even before that one, if you look at the gem packs, the way we thought about the patterns, it was always like the $100 pack, then the $25 pack, then the $100 pack, then the $25 pack, right? And in the previous formats, it was always the main heroic challenge character first, and then a rework character, then the second paywall character, and then the rework character. They switched that on its head, and they've offered Red Hood as the first one this month. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's the better thing to do.
Fries, what do you think about that?
I would say for that, it's more specifically to do with Red Hood being desired, and WB just decide to break the pattern and pull out that pack first.
Yeah. So you're saying it's sort of like a marketing decision?
Yeah, because I'll say WB can tell the build-up frustration of Deathstroke and Baby Lobo. So they put up the Red Hood pack as soon as it's available, and might actually help people buying those $100 packs.
So do you feel, for example, in January, let's say we keep the same formula, the same pattern. Do you think that they'll have the paywall character again as the first one, or will it be the event character again?
It's very hard to tell. I mean, the pattern is not.
It's not.
Not really that big of a difference. I mean, if it happens during the month, then it's all right, I would say.
Now, one of the reasons why I'm kind of with you in terms of the marketing decision to actually just sell more Red Hoods, but one thing I was thinking about, and Hate Mail brought this up a couple of times in their podcast, it's when he's buying gems, for people who do buy gems, it's sort of to plan for the month. Like, when am I going to do my PvP pushes? When am I going to gear my characters? Who am I going to work on for alliance missions and so on, right? So Red, getting access to the paywall character first gives people incentive to buy their gems early because they want to buy the paywall characters anyways, but they don't want to wait till the middle of the month. Now they can just get it right at the beginning of the month, right? So they can get all their gems up front and they can accurately plan the way they're going to spend their resources for that month. Obviously, this doesn't apply to everyone. This applies to probably, I would say, a small minority of players, but it does actually affect financially and sort of this scheduling and timing that they're going through in terms of making purchases, right? So I think that does have somewhat of an indirect impact. Does that affect you at all, Fries?
Not really, actually.
You just buy them anyways?
Not all of them, but it depends. Yeah. I change it up a bit. I actually buy 2 Red Hood packs, but I didn't buy the Penguin pack this time.
Okay. From a business point of view, what do you think, Ogre?
I think it's a good move in business point of view.
Yeah. Ogre, what do you think?
Yeah, business-wise, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't see why you wouldn't do it. I mean, if you know that people want that character more, put them out there.
Yeah, put them up there first. All right.
Yeah.
In terms of things that people want, Doom, were you going to say something about the packs?
No, no. I was going to agree. As far as the Red Hood thing goes, people complaining about Deathstroke. Oh, here's a counter Deathstroke. Throw it out as soon as possible. Get people to buy in while it's still an issue.
Yeah. He was actually my first character that I bought outright. But mainly it's because I like Jason Todd. But not. It was also the fact that, like,
sure.
Well, I do. He's my favorite Robin. He's my favorite Robin, quote unquote. But yeah. But
yeah.
Anyways, so in terms of things people want, a lot of people were hyping about the 12 days of Christmas leading up to December. Now there were some highs and then there were some lows, and it's more of like there was a lot of lows. Now with there were, I don't know, I mean, it depends who's counting.
Honestly, these 12 days of Christmas or 12 days of DC, they're not geared toward the veteran players, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
I mean,
they have been all pretty good for new players, though.
Yeah, I'd say they're definitely a far sight better than last year's deals, but that's just me.
Oh yeah,
I mean, let's just break it down.
I'm sad we didn't get our Essence sale.
Right. Well, let's break it down what we're talking about. So, for those of you who haven't been following along or have sort of stopped playing DC Legends for a while, if you look in the stores, there's a lot of things going on for each day of this 12 days of DC thing that they have been going on. So we're on the second to last day now. So there's one more tomorrow. There's been a lot of variable packs, shard or packs that offer multiple characters in the pack, but you can only get a certain amount of them. So it's sort of a gamble of which character you're going to get. But they offer great deals in terms of the rates of gems invested per shard. So those packs are probably geared towards people who don't have a very deep roster and are looking to get pretty much anybody on that list and would be happy getting any of those people on those lists because the rate at which you're going to get them, even though the cost might be high, is very, very, very good. For the most part, I haven't seen any deal that actually is worse than the standard 80 gems per shard. So, but definitely
not even close.
The ones that really stand out in everyone's minds right now are the most recent 3 were the Steppenwolf deal, which was 700 for 70, right?
Yeah, it was a 10 gems per shard.
That was
700 gems for 70 Steppenwolves.
No catch. There was no catch other than the fact that there was limited to 7 because everything had to be 7, right? So,
right.
Then there was
It was
also,
7 wolves invading.
right, and then there was also the bunch of materials and essences and stuff that was offered for
6 essential essences
for Speed Force, basically, which is basically free because you can get the Speed Forces back that you invested through the stuff that you get from the pack, right? And also the gems that they offered was 20 or 25% value of the original 25,000 gem pack. If you buy all the packs, it's the same.
If you look at that as a $100 pack, yes,
yeah,
it's quarter cost,
right?
But if you look at it as the $5 deal, it's 5 times the value.
Yeah, definitely. So in general,
because the original $5 pack is 1,000 gems.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely went all in on that as soon as I saw it. So.
I think a lot of people did. Yeah. I know I did too.
I slipped through it. I am so salty about that.
I don't know how you managed to sleep through that.
It's because I was up late the night before, and I was like, oh, I'll just take a small nap. It'll be fine. And then I woke up, and it was 6:07, and then I just cried and died on the inside.
It was like a whole day had passed.
Oh man.
So Fries, what do you think about the holiday specials?
I mean, in terms of value, it's pretty good. It's what I see is people in the game like smaller packs, disregard of the value. I mean, DC is giving some packs with pretty good value, but it's still a very heavy price tag, like 7K or 8K gems, and it doesn't appeal to them. Even though the value is like really good, like 75% off, people are still not interested in. That's why it makes the Steppenwolf deal good, because it's just 700 gems, but you get 70 of his fragments.
Yep.
Which means it's 10 gems per shard instead of 80. I mean, that's a big discount. Yeah.
Definitely. So actually, for those of you who don't know, I mean, I'm known on Reddit for doing a lot of my analyses on these sort of financial aspects of these packs. And for those, if you've noticed a trend in my PSAs, I actually often refrain from chiming in on anything that's over 8,000 gems, mainly because I set the bar at 8K. So anything that's worse than 80 gems per shard or more expensive than 8,000 gems, I kind of feel like it's not worth talking for the most part. Even though the deals might be decent or might be a little bit better than the 8K packs, I know that it's not for everyone, and for those who actually want to buy them, it's definitely for a sort of minority, like a very specific audience. So what I try to do most of the time is cater to the majority who might be looking towards something that's more accessible. So for those of you who feel like, oh, this 16K pack or this 9K pack or something looks good, and you want my advice on it, you can always ask me. But I'm probably never going to write something on that if I have a choice to or not. So, yeah. What do you guys feel about the overall packs for this? Let's say this year.
I say December has gone nuts.
Sorry.
I think it has improved this month. But you can never really tell what WB is going to do in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest change is in June with the feature hero and gems at $100. That's the big change, because before that, it was just so expensive getting the characters.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of the year, they took steps towards releasing more packs more frequently. There was actually a couple of months, like I've been keeping track of the packs in stores pretty much every day since March, I think, is around when I started tracking them. And there's been a period, a couple of months in a row, I think one or two, around, I'm going to say May and June, when they actually had a pack every day, like a new pack in store every day for something, right? And it was usually a character-based pack. Then after a while, they actually started taking breaks, like a day off here and there. So let's say in 30 days, you would have about 20 days worth of packs, for example. So overall, they've increased the frequency, they've increased the variety, they've increased variability packs, like different sizes of variable packs, and they've increased like overall options. So I think having more options is always great. The one thing is, I just wish that they would stop giving options in terms of like the higher end products. You know what I mean? Like we don't need 16K packs, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
No, I don't think we need that. That's just too expensive.
I don't think we've seen any of those.
Hey guys, this is DPO427. You may have noticed that the audio cut out there at the end while we're talking about packs. Unfortunately, the audio that I used to record both the Game Talk and the Lame Talk from the live Discord run the other day ran into some audio troubles and it got cut off halfway. So unfortunately, we lost just the end of Game Talk and all of Lame Talk. So what we're going to try to do is type up in terms of a text form to sort of summarize the talking points that we had in Lame Talk, and we'll post it up on Reddit. So hopefully by the time you guys see this or hear this, you'll also have seen the text write-up for the Lame Talk part on Reddit as well. So if you're listening to this afterwards, just search up on the DCL Reddit for the Osmond Broadcast Lame Talk episode 4, and it'll probably come up over there. Okay, sorry again for all the trouble, and hope you guys have a safe and happy New Year, and thanks for listening.
Hey guys, this is Seth Rogen. I wanted to give a huge shout out and thanks to everyone for listening. Catch us when we go live on Discord, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and SoundCloud at The Oddsman. Feel free to check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/theoddsman, for a variety of opportunities to help us grow and provide better content. Thanks again for your continued support, and as always, enjoy and grind on.